Hello, and welcome back to the Live Label Free podcast. So, today's episode is a very vulnerable and unplanned one, and that's why I've been delaying uploading it. I recorded this on my phone at 12 a.m. months ago, and yeah, I honestly don't know what to say right now aside from everything you're about to hear. But in a nutshell, I share how I went through a second puberty at age 24 and how that's brought up a lot of thoughts and uncomfortable feelings about gender and my identity and feeling trapped in this human body. I'm obviously not going to just restate everything I recorded raw in that moment, but I just wanted to give you a quick heads up of what to expect today and why the style and audio quality might be a bit different than what you're used to from this podcast. So, yeah, that's what's coming up in just a moment. But before we dive in, I just wanted to share something huge I've been working on, and that is a free 10-day email course answering your questions about extreme hunger. As someone who's been through it firsthand and has coached many through this challenging part of recovery, I've taken the top 10 questions I get asked about extreme hunger and broken them down into daily emails filled with science, stories, and practical guidance. So, whether you're constantly thinking about food, confused about why you feel hungrier after having gained weight, or just want to better understand the complex intersection between autism and hunger cues, this course will help you make sense of what you or your loved one may be experiencing. The best part is it's completely free, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You can get access to this 10-day extreme hunger course right away by visiting the link livelabelfree.com/extreme-hunger-guide. So again, that's livelabelfree.com/extreme-hunger-guide, or just click the link in the show notes. And now let's dive into today's episode about my second puberty and my ponderings on gender identity.
Gotta put one foot in front of the other, and you'll be around the corner soon.
Welcome to the Live Label Free podcast, where we talk about autism, ADHD, eating disorders, existentialism, and everything in between. I'm your host, Livia Sarah. Now let's get into it. Alright, so I'm actually sitting in bed right now, and I'm recording this on my phone. So if the audio quality is not as high as it usually is, that's because I'm not using my microphone, and I'm just talking into my phone. So what was so urgent that I had to record this at practically, it's almost midnight right now and I can't fall asleep. What was so urgent for me to record this right now? Well, it's because my brain is going in a lot of directions, like it usually is. But I specifically want to talk about an experience that has really been, I guess, the idea of the experience, sharing about this experience, has been nudging me more and more. And that is, I guess, my question is whether or not anyone else has experienced this sense of not feeling like they want their body to be a certain gender. So, what I mean with that is that I have recently, and I'd say the past year, gone through something that I definitely call a second puberty. It's really the best way to describe it. And this is mainly due to, the results of honoring extreme hunger and honoring all my hunger and letting my body do what it is biologically primed to do. And I talk about this actually a lot in my book, How to Beat Extreme Hunger. I talk about puberty and how honoring extreme hunger and giving your body full permission to heal after an eating disorder does trigger second puberty in a lot of people, and I elaborate on all the hormonal changes that come with that, including how I discovered I have PMDD, which stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is obviously associated with the female sex. But, anyways, having gone through this second puberty and having my body change in a lot of ways that I honestly really do not feel comfortable with. I mean, I now have fat tissue in places that I've never had it before. In the past year, I've started to notice that I have cellulite for the first time in my life. As I talk about in my book, How to Beat Extreme Hunger, being someone with a female physiology, I do experience mood swings and different ways of eating and energy levels throughout my menstrual cycle. And all of these changes that have happened have been really, really tough for me as an autistic person because they are A, unpredictable, and B, the sensory experience is really, really overwhelming for me. And when I'm not hyper focused on my work, when I'm not writing, when I'm not in a coaching session, when I'm not doing something else that's pretty much distracting me from feeling trapped in this human body, that my being is too vast and infinite to be contained within. That's kind of how I see it, is that we have this vast, abundant, infinite energy that is like almost being pushed into human bodies. But because the human bodies, because anything tangible for that matter cannot physically host all of our being, it causes us to feel trapped in our own body. So, why am I saying this? Because whenever, I do kind of dissociate from my ability to focus on my work or anything else that I enjoy doing, I start to notice, how uncomfortable I feel being in a female body. And I'm not saying I would want to be in a male body, because I do not at all identify more with being male. In fact, I really wish, well, the thing is that I do identify as a girl, but I do not feel like I identify as a woman. So, what I mean by that is, you know, I look older now that I'm recovered from my eating disorder. I no longer look like a 12-year-old child like I did all throughout my eating disorder. And people, see me as a woman. They call me ma'am and miss. And I notice that that makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. And when people do call me a girl, because sometimes people do, because I do look very young, and that tends to be a common autistic trait, is looking younger than you are, but speaking older than you are. When people call me girl, I feel like that's more accurate, because I feel like more of a girl than a woman. I mean, even just saying that word woman, like I am a woman, it feels very wrong on my tongue, because I don't feel like I'm a woman, even though I guess, societally, objectively, I am. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I guess if there's one thing that I've learned about the Live Label Free podcast and the impact it's had on people, is that it's helped a lot of people listening to either understand someone they care for better, or to understand themselves better, and to especially feel like they're not alone. And I think, if this is my experience of, identifying as, having pronouns she, her, hers, and identifying as a girl, but not identifying as a woman, like wishing you were not any gender, like wishing genders did not exist and that everyone could just see each other for who they were, like as a being. I'm really curious if anyone else has this experience. So, if you're listening on YouTube, I'd love for you to leave a comment sharing what your experience is with gender, or what your thoughts are on anything I've said, or what insights you have gotten, if any, from what I've said. And if you're listening to just the audio on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or another podcast player, I'd love it if you could send me a message through my website at livelabelfree.com/contact, because this whole gender conversation, especially working with a lot of trans and non-binary folks, has really led me to question, the role of gender when it comes to neurodivergence in general, and how, eating disorders and restriction can almost be like a subconscious form of preventing us from fully leaning into either a male or female body. So, I could probably go on talking about my thoughts right now, because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, they're going in all different directions, but I just wanted to share this in the hopes that my experience can help someone feel like they're not alone, and maybe help you put into words something you're experiencing but haven't been able to find the words for. So, yeah, get in touch with me. Either leave a comment, send me a message, subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. If you have gotten any value from this episode or from the Live Label Free podcast in general, I would so appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star rating for the show and also leave a positive review if you feel so inclined. It helps other people to find the show so that we can continue bridging the gap between neurodivergence and eating disorders together. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you listening. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Baby, just one foot in front of the other.